So thank you, Marianne. Thank you all for being here. What an extraordinary collection of talented and dedicated people to the Amazon and its future. What an honor to be here with Carlos Nobre, who's just given us this unbelievably elegant presentation of things impinging upon our favorite piece of biology of the planet. So I want to begin by saying, we've actually made a huge amount of progress. So in 1965, when I set foot in the Amazon, there was one national park. It was in Venezuela, and only one highway. And you know how much progress on the good side of the agenda we've actually accomplished. I don't need to go into that. What Carlos has portrayed for us leads very obviously to a statement that we know the Amazon has to be managed as a system. And that means a much more integrated approach to occupation and development in the Amazon. And the reality is, as I think about it, it's really hard to think of any place in the world, except maybe Bhutan, where that has actually been fully achieved. But it doesn't mean we can't think about how to move much more close to that than we currently are. And it's not simple because, of course, we have 8 countries and France, which gives AMAPA the interesting perk of being able to get money from the European Union because it's neighboring Europe. So I think we're actually at a point where we should think about net zero deforestation, which probably will be thinking so off the charts that why are we even talking about it? But I think we really need to do that in order to maintain the Amazon as the system that it is, and basically start pushing for any increment of deforestation having to be matched with an increment of reforestation. And that's a pretty bold thing to say, but if you really want to maintain the Amazon as a system, you have to keep it at close to the 20%. We have these flickerings of drought, which I think are suggesting that everything Carlos told us is more true than we dare believe. So a few thoughts about what we also might be doing. One, we have an incredible protected area estate, well in excess of 50%. But A, it's not enough to maintain the Amazon as a system. And 2, this is an ongoing work in progress. We really need to strengthen that Amazon protected area estate. And there are various things already existing moving in that direction. But I think we need to find ways to do more. I also think we need to just completely rethink infrastructure. I mean, why does infrastructure actually have to be the same old way it's always been? And there was actually a very encouraging meeting that Juliana, I think, was probably at on the 31st of August in Rio, co-sponsored by the Inter-American Bank and the Brazilian National Development Bank on sustainable infrastructure. And BNDES actually embraced the concept publicly. And now is the time to start filling in the details. If you really, really need, which I don't think you do, but if you really, really need to pave the unpaved part of the highway from Porto Velho to Manaus, make it an elevated highway. That's already been done in the Mata Atlantica. Construction impact is 1/40th of the impact of a regular road. And let's remember that roads is just sort of our innate reaction. Build a road. Well, it costs a lot of money to build a road in the wet tropics, and it costs even more money to maintain. So the economics actually can work to our advantage in all of this. I think there's major need to modernize the energy plants in the Amazon. Most of those hydroelectric projects are 50, 40-year-old designs. We need hydroelectric projects that respect the migratory fishes and the sediment flows of the Amazon basin. And I think there's no reason that transmission lines can't always be well above the canopy of the forest with no need to maintain a right-of-way beneath them. Have them with proper sensors in them. They can just go in by helicopter when there's a problem to exactly where it needs attention. And you saved all the money of maintaining the right-of-way and all the opportunities for spontaneous colonization that invites. So obviously, I think we need to figure out how to really engage with the Chinese Infrastructure Bank. COF is already thinking about our kinds of things, but maybe we need even more than that. And then, of course, the indigenous communities have 1/4 of the land surface of the Amazon. We clearly need to take advantage of that protection, but work with those communities because it's simply wrong, but also disrespectful to think of them as communities that will stay frozen in time. And they're not all the same. So there's a really big agenda there. And then thinking about economics, because it's got to be central in sustainable Amazon. Whether those of us in this room do it or not, I think we need to spend a lot of time on sustainable cities in the Amazon. Ways to generate economic opportunity and jobs in cities and reasonable quality of life that takes the pressure off doing unsustainable things in the surrounding forest. And I've been talking about Manaus for years, and of course, it's an economic free zone, and you can't have a whole bunch of economic free zones. There's no advantage to being one. Actually, I suddenly realized, most of the economic activity in Manaus is assembly plants using materials that don't come out of the forest. So I think there's room for a lot of creativity and imagination in the way we build quality of life and economic centers in Amazon cities. Obviously, agriculture to feed the people in the cities is a complex and challenging topic. And there's no immediate, easy solution to that, but we tend to completely overlook aquaculture and all those short food chain species, which in aquaculture and ecological terms are ideal. Mining is an issue in the Amazon. Pleased to say that Alcoa is planning a 3 to 5 year exercise on sustainable mining in the Amazon, built around their experience at Juriti, which I've been to and I've seen it. And I would say it's actually quite impressive. Not perfect, but it's quite impressive. And there's no reason we can't think about mining being a temporary activity. And when it's all over, the mines get decommissioned and the roads that lead to them get reforested. So what we we do with sustainable forestry is an important topic. I'm going to skip right over that. We'll probably get into that in the next couple days. Really need to deal with the illegal alluvial gold mining, which I've experienced firsthand in Madre de Dios and Peru. And it's clear that the only way to deal with that is at a cabinet level approach, because no single ministry can deal with it. I think there's some real progress going there. And then the wild ocean. You know, Pavan Sukdev started this amazing series of activities called the Economics, the Ecosystem Biodiversity. I mean, maybe we need to look at the Amazon. And ecotourism, I think, although there's some fine places, has a long way to go. Yeah, a really long way to go. You think of what it means for the Costa Rican economy, it would be huge for the Amazonian economy. And then, of course, as Carlos touched on, there's the intersection of biotechnology and biodiversity. And let's not pursue the holy grail instantly of the ultimate cure for whatever. Let's look at things like natural fungicides, where the rats, which are much easier to bring to the market and bring economic return. And then there's governance, which we've all encountered one way or another. First on my governance topics is Colombia in the next 2 or 3 years in particular, with FARC no longer governing presence in the Colombian Amazon. How do we actually get to President Santos's dream of a Colombia sostenible in that vast area in which government is close to non-existent or very thin? And I also think we've had enough examples over the years of governors getting interested in sustainable development. Maybe there's some way, at least in pairs or in small networks, we can encourage some of the governors of the region to reinforce each other in the right kinds of directions. There is, of course, the Amazon Conservation Treaty. It's so hard to figure out how to make that truly be strong. For the 2 or 3 years when President Cardozo actually got Brazil to be pushing for it to be a leader in sustainability. But it's there. And it's an instrument that maybe can help us, not so much at the basin scale about everything, but maybe important little pieces. And I continue to think that maybe one of the very first ways to get national collaboration between all those entities is through an Amazon fisheries agreement. It's just a practical thing that they might collectively go for. No, maybe we need a development bank summit. An American Bank, BANDEASE, CAF, some others, time to sort of shine the light on this big challenge in that kind of way. And then finally, I think we shouldn't forget that for all the Amazon countries, the Amazon is sort of like the back 40, the backyard. It's not what drives politics and economics in those countries in a really big way. And until we have population in the remainder of those countries, it's going to be a challenge. So Abhasita and I conjured up a project to do an up-to-date map of the Amazon with the National Geographic for that November of 2015. And I'm working right now on a project to get that map reprinted, all the appropriate languages, with a lesson plan, and then get into every school, not just in the Amazon, but in every school in the Amazon. So that young people growing up in Sao Paulo or Lima or wherever actually are pretty informed by the time they're adults. Some of these issues come to the fore. So those are just some initial thoughts. So excited to be with you all. You're so accomplished, so talented, and I hope we make a lot of trouble. Thank you.